been on the map.
Yeah, you were listening when you were 7.
Yeah.
Oh, when I was
Probably running through.
Yes.
You were observing Frankie.
Your mum was doing
I'm
it.
in next Tuesday and Wednesday too.
Just for Frankie.
Yeah,
So I was writing an incident form
Cool,
from
awesome.
and it
that's
said
nice. So all
prevention.
three of
How
you
is
are
she going
using
to
this
avoid
like
doing this
Yeah,
in the
and
future?
Karen-
And it says spatial awareness.
Yeah.
I am often, I float between the area 5, 6,
I was
so
like,
Beautiful.
and I banged it on
Yeah.
the side of the mice because my spatial awareness isn't good.
I work in the same hub as Zara,
Yes, okay.
but we cross hub, so we're not always teaching. And
Yeah.
You were doing
We
The
teach
hub that
literacy
we're
together.
assigned
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
well,
The first-
full time.
And Ollie's the team leader for all of you?
Yeah.
So you're 7-8, is that right? You're 7-8,
Yeah.
yeah? Okay.
So we will
3,
definitely do
4,
our best to try
3,
and
4, beautiful. Okay.
make the content as relevant as we can, and just thinking about ways that we, can shift it to be more purposeful to your year 7 and 8 context as well. We'll do our best there. Thank you for coming back. It's great to have you here, and welcome. We will start the day. Does anyone want to do a karakia that they would do in their school? We're inviting them if anyone would like to.
I did.
Did you?
I did. Well, it's
That
one,
wasn't
no, it's,
Stonefield School specific.
it wasn't. It was one that Catherine did for the learning support.
Oh, lovely.
But I don't know.
I just dropped her a bit to do.
Yeah, you did. Thanks.
Just-
Sarah. Good job. I took a photo on my phone.
Alison, would you mind?
Forgive me if the
No, this is gonna be a
pronunciation
long
is
day
not
for you.
good, but e te whānau whaia kia marama, kia whai taka, e roto, e ho, maia, katoa, kia tū, kia kaha, kia horoa, te marino, aroha atu, aroha mai, tō ki a tātou katoa.
That's
And I can tell you what it translates
Okay, so how
to.
do you know
That's
it?
our karakia that we do
Is that
each
the one
morning.
you do? Yeah, so it says,
Cool.
everyone seek the knowledge, have a
And
purpose in everything you do, stand tall, be strong, may peace be widespread, give love, receive love, let us show respect for each other. So that was one that our learning support did. Sorry, if I pronounced it wrong, I'm
You
not.
did really good. For the fact that you probably haven't practiced it.
No, I've done it
every
once
morning.
before.
Our school one is like, it has the name of the school in our karakia,
Yeah.
so it's kind of like, oh, I can't really use that one.
We have that one, and then I think we have like 2 more on top of that as well.
Really lovely. Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks, Sarah.
You'll get her back later today, I'm sure. Okay, so Jenny just brought up something that's probably quite useful just to say it is a small group today, and there's a number of reasons why there's less participants, and hopefully we're all back for workshop 3 together again, because we like to all keep that continuity. What's that?
That's all we have to change. Workshop 3.
We
We have another clash later on.
We have a clash in the
30th of May.
Do we know about that one?
Rachel was trying to sort it out.
Oh,
So
right.
that we can move to
We're gonna
the
teach
teacher
only day.
Kalani teacher only day.
Oh, right.
Well, that's the next one. Or if it's the one after.
So,
No, we have one more.
No, it's
30th of
one
May.
time before, yes.
30th of May.
Yeah.
One moment,
Is that workshop
please.
4?
Should I turn the what's the temperature?
Sorry, Michelle, I haven't got to you yet because it's not
Yeah.
really
Should
been.
I switch
Let me
it
just turn
You know
it
what
on.
the priority was? I'll try to day off.
Yeah.
I don't have that in here. Oh, well.
Okay.
Oh, that's.
But yes, well, Rachel and Bushra who signed us out. Ramdishwa.
Yeah.
Shishra.
That one.
I have it here.
She was just saying that the dates for the Thursday
The 30th of
because
May.
the
That's workshop 5.
work's
Oh,
different.
fine. Alright, we've got plenty of time.
She was just like,
Thanks, Al.
she doesn't know whether we can join the Thursday because the days are different and they finish after we finish, even though they started before.
Yeah, so we just need to find
So
out
she was
about
just like,
workshop
it's a
five.
bit,
Yeah, she just needs to get in touch with us and we'll have a look and see whether they actually have
I
capacity.
don't know where she
It
is.
wasn't
Someone
Stone
will
Fields that had teaching me. It's the whole
Yeah, yeah, class.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
We asked them what the priority was. and they were like, oh, good question. And it took a while. They've still not really got back to us, but we assume that they knew this is Thursday.
Yep.
Who would like to be a timekeeper today, just to keep us on track to make sure we stop for morning tea at 10:30?
Sarah would love to do that.
Sarah, thank you, Sarah.
Hey Siri, set alarm for 10:30.
Because sometimes we get in the flow. Yeah, lovely. Thank
Is it
you.
listening all the time? Ready? Yeah,
That's great.
I do it
Sorry,
all the
Paul.
time for the learners.
Yeah.
I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Watch the room.
I hate it. I love it.
So we've got up here our IYT workshop expectations that we co-created at our last workshop. So we'll just go through those again because some of you were with Rob and Co. So we've got non-judgmental, confidentiality, all questions are valued, be respectful, we are all professionals, openness, be present, having fun, and phones on silent. If you need to go outside to take a call, just no problem at all. Alright, and then we've got Emily she does such a beautiful job here of our agenda for today, so you can
You
see.
see, I started teaching in an era where we had to write on boards.
Yeah, it's amazing. I wish I had that. I don't. Yeah. So that looks great, and so that's going to be, we're going to move straight into our homework review actually. And Alex, you've kindly said that you will do an energizer today. Does anyone else want to share an energizer? You're most welcome. I've got a couple up my sleeve. I'm happy to share too. Just, I think we've already got Alex up there. So if anyone else wants to just pop your name up there today, okay. Right. So moving into it, last workshop we got your evaluations back, and 100% of you found the content very helpful. Comments such as really cool group of people. Loved the bus stop activities and being able to get up and move. Other feedback was the discussions were great. Great facilitators, that was very kind, and great food. So awesome. And we've got Iris coming back to deliver again today. So more food to come. Alright, so we're going to move into our homework review, and whether you were in Rob's group or this group, the program was the same. So you will have your IBP that you developed thinking about a target student, and you were thinking about relationship building strategies and proactive teacher strategies that you could use to help support your student and increase those desired behaviours you're looking for. So I'd like you to spend just a couple of minutes, you've got a post-it note there, and just jot down how your IBP is going, how your strategies that you've chosen to work on in the classroom since we were last together, how that's gone, what have been your successes, and if you've had any challenges as well. So just a couple of minutes just to jot down those, and then we'll share that.
I love your A3 size. I think that's great.
That's whatever we got given.
Oh, it was okay.
Can't take claim for it, we didn't do it.
Yeah, I think we gave choices, didn't we, on ours? But yeah. Okay, you can keep jotting down ideas, and I'd just like you to spend a couple of minutes actually talking to your shoulder buddy. One of you need to make a three, and just talk about with each other and reflect on how your proactive teacher strategies that you've chosen and your proactive teacher strategies and your building relationship strategies have gone to support your target student?
Are you ready? What? So, after thinking that I noticed in my class we were very emotional. I got a few, I think, 2 new students come since then. One of them
But the pro has
been
been
every day, if not every block. So she's finding it really hard. Wasn't my target student to begin with, but I spoke to my team leader about some ways I can help settle the class, kind of, so we've got a bounce back program, so I've been doing that a bit more often, and then I've kind of made this little box where it's got sticky notes and they can tell me how their day goes, and it's anonymous, so then throughout the whole day, if they feel like they need something to say or whatever, I'll choose something available, and I've seen like a shift in how they can kind of respond. They're not holding it in, they kind of
Just relationship building,
on,
nurturing that.
told me to feel a little bit more, and then they feel heard. My target student, I kind of gave her the
And it's like you're constantly removing one of them, or is it to benefit the
even more
see
than lunch, and she was
spots.
pretty receptive at first, but then she kind of felt like she was felt pressured to or didn't know what to say, so I said it was optional, so she had the choice of either, you know, if she felt like sharing, then she could have that 2 minutes, but if she didn't feel like she needed to share, then she could go off, and that felt a lot better.
And what was the strategy that you used there?
Choice, like giving her
Choice,
Yeah.
and also in terms of having that time with you, those 2 minutes, what was that strategy that we worked on at the last?
Wow. Yeah.
one-to-one, yeah.
Great, and what about,
I do it for
Isn't it
I was only in class 2 days this week.
No, I was only Monday and Tuesday.
Like I was
Because
Monday and yesterday. No, it's going well. I just
Pretty
it's
similar.
actually really
Yeah,
nice
yeah.
because we normally if someone hits a really hit back or something, and he got hit in class, and he stopped, stared, and walked away.
so what was the desired behaviour you were looking for?
Just not hitting back. Like,
Okay.
just not
I mean, it's not
retaliating. Like,
sorry,
When he gets
it's
frustrated, not
It's-
lashing out.
yeah, it's
It's
sort
not
of-
something
similar things to each other,
Yeah.
really.
It's
Okay.
this one's sort of just like
I know, just
In fact,
silly-
it's pretty much
silly
her
behaviour,
offensive
like,
strategy.
like too silly because he thinks it's
funny.
Is it?
Yeah.
and then it just happens so
It
that
makes more sense, right?
while
Yeah,
we were
that
working on
It's
that,
big into
Yeah.
the
he
space.
also
Because he did
had
that
like
last time.
Yeah, that's the
like
example.
not
Right,
having
and
to
I used to work in
share
a position
how the
as
students react.
so
So
she's
she's
already
behaves like she does when I
So,
don't
yeah,
give
how
her
did
silly
you-
behaviour. And so when he got it, he was like,
your
"Oh,
proactive strategy.
So what did you do to help encourage the desired behaviour?
Yeah.
Well, I had
People that
a
we have
one-on-one
possible
talk with him
Ah.
That should
about
make easier
how
to
he
see.
behaves
Yeah.
and we both
Any
love how
sort
we
of direction.
really through handling things ourselves.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Great.
he'll go up to someone, he'll touch someone on their back and I'll be like, what are we doing? He's like,
there on
Yeah.
top of it to get
So-
And so using non-verbal cues as well?
yeah, if he's saying like outside the room or something.
horrible experience.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And
And
then
the
the
other
other
thing
thing
is
to say
nobody
like,
can
nobody
say,
can
so
say,
putting those considerations.
Yeah.
And did you talk to the mum or you
No.
didn't?
No.
But just giving him the extra time,
Yeah.
being explicit with him,
Absolutely.
going back over the
Yeah.
expectations,
Yeah.
and using non-verbal cues.
Just so that way, like, if I see him do something, I'm like,
And so you're priming him, you're being proactive
Yeah.
and telling him beforehand what your expectations are of him.
Well, we
Just
just
listen that, like,
he
have the
was,
student
he was
regularly,
meant
and
to
then
walk
that's
home.
the literacy.
No, he wasn't meant
It
to walk
makes
home.
them a little bit easier
So
to already see
Monday,
them for
I
2 of the blocks, that's
Yeah.
three, and they're guiding group 3 blocks,
He
that's
walked,
three.
he done walking, he was like, oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, sometimes saying that he behaves
Absolutely.
is not being silly.
that's.
And I tried to guide for maths and
Yeah, I
music,
spoke
but
to
it's
the mum
necessary
as well,
figure, so
yeah.
obviously over 2 blocks
Yeah,
and 3.
with,
So
The relationship work you have with it.
Yeah.
No,
Her mum was just, she was wanting to know how he was still learning, like how his learning was going, because he was,
When you see him sell,
I
and
think
then
he
you
was
have
like
lunch or
maybe
morning
supposed
tea
to
or
sit
whatever,
in
you
his
sit at a
table
table
because
or
or like but like free
Yeah.
schools
you all go outside dinner,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's really, like, comfortable.
yes,
Yeah.
the morning tea is
Yeah.
lunch now.
and we have
Yeah.
women as well.
So you still like the opportunity to sit with them and chat.
Yeah.
We don't
It's kind of really toys to
I
the
don't know,
car.
like, he also had a conversation with one about building, how you
Yes.
behave
Yes,
as an adult, sort of
Yes.
stuff,
Okay,
things
yeah.
like time management or scheduling.
Maybe
or whatever.
2 days, but
And part of that
Oh
is
yeah, I was
like,
only
you
doing
don't just
Monday,
want to
Tuesday,
have
and then Wednesday was my
teacher
AP
and
release.
so
But that ended up me
we
helping
really
with
encourage
school.
those sort of moments
And
of time when
do
they
you
come
work
in and out of the
concussion?
house
Do
to
you full days?
meet with us.
Yeah, but I
Every
was
vice versa,
yeah,
because
yeah.
we make a point of watching them.
That was it. That was
So they
it.
say hello.
Because sometimes the school routines
But my
are
kids were
such that
very
we have
happy.
to
Was it yours?
kind of
Was it your
connect
decision?
and they
With
kind of
the
shut out the
partly,
classes to
oh, that's
sit
like,
down
yeah,
and lose
that's
their
what I'm
own
saying.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
school
was
day
because
too.
I
We
needed
don't
to
need to
observe my
necessarily, but
kids.
when they do come in,
you have
Yeah.
that time to
And
We've got
then
half an hour and
that
a
was
half
the expectation is set.
my
Yeah.
kids asked me to help for sure. And I do some work, but I also literally could not look at
I
my
also,
computer
I
because my
suppose
mum
with
was so I
I've
was
got
like,
boys
14-year-old.
who are here at the.
I can't even do work, I'm not allowed to leave
We
the
talk a
screen,
lot
so
about
mine was.
football.
Yes,
How long
I
are you
very
and
much
Rachel
regularly
camp?
They really should be good by Monday, but they're really
So I
unsure.
haven't been able to, but
I
when
think
they,
it's
when they
almost
changed their
2 to 1.
routine,
Oh,
so.
to have only
They
had
were
one.
in camp the boys.
Would
but
you-
They don't know,
girls-
if it's still happening and they're like,
But like,
Yeah.
it's 4 to 6
Yeah.
weeks.
Something that's
It's got
good.
those things that always want to be.
I should get, I'm hoping to get sleeping
Yeah,
Tuesday.
That's 4 months.
And so having
Yeah.
things in common
But I
like
think
football and stuff is
Okay.
awesome.
Very There were some lovely discussions. Thank you for your reflections on how your behaviour plans are going and how your work with your target student is coming along and increasing those desired behaviours. I've just popped your IYT principles that you came up with in our last workshop there as well, because we can dip into those and think about as we talk about our homework review. Specific IYT principles that might fit with your homework that you've been doing. Okay, and with your target student. So, would anyone like to share back how their homework review has gone? How your behaviour plan is coming along since you last were here?
I can start. I haven't been in the classroom as much for sickness and concussion, but when I was in there, I've seen like a huge change, not in like just my target student, but some of my other kids that I was adjusting. I've got a very emotional class, and a lot of them are just it's taking a little bit longer to settle in. So I decided to do like a little feedback feelings box that they could be anonymous and like just share how they're feeling, and that's been really helpful. And then my target student, I've been having more one-on-one time and just setting kind of expectations for like stay sitting on the mat, staying focused at the learning, and that's made a huge change. I've also communicated with mum as well about like our goals for the term, what my concerns were and what the steps are going forward, and she was pretty happy with that as well.
She was pretty receptive.
Yeah.
So what was the goal? What goal were you trying to achieve with this
So-
target student?
She was just like kind of wandering around a lot during learning time,
Yes.
and just like kind of sharing how she was feeling during and disrupting learning a lot to come and have that one-on-one with me.
Okay.
So it was just picking like appropriate times to share how she was feeling.
So I'm hearing a key principle coming through there.
Yeah.
What was one of the strategies from our last workshop that Alex is using to support the student having one-to-one time? Is that one of the RYT principles? Yes. Yeah. So was that effective in building the relationship and giving her that special time so she felt like she was getting the attention she needed from you?
Yeah.
Okay, and responsive with the mum, which is great. So you were strengthening partnerships with home as well. Lovely. Okay. Anybody else?
I can go.
Sarah, yeah, thanks, Sarah.
Probably very similar to what Alex is saying. So we've also had a meeting with parents, and he comes from a separated family, so it's just making sure between both parents and us we're all present so that we're all on the same page, and helping him with that sort of negative self-talk, which has been, he's not emotional but very distracted, and you know, if you're not with him then he's wandering and needs water and needs to go to the toilet or needs to just go over there and chat to that person.
Yeah.
And so, but also building up those really positive relationships so you're not constantly, he's not receiving negative guidance all the time and always being, no, you need to go and sit down, no, you need to go do this. It's more like that, more of a timekeeping strategy. I'm going to come back in 5 minutes when, you know, you need to make sure that you've done those 3. Come on, buddy, I know that you can do it. So it's more of a positive experience, but keeping him on task and also having that relationship, knowing that somebody actually cares about him and his learning. So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Fantastic, Sarah. Thank you. Okay. What about Jess? You were saying that things had gone well with your target student, and you had seen a increase in positive behaviours you're looking for.
Yes.
What was the desired behaviour you're looking for from your target student?
Just sort of keeping hands to themselves and not being as distracting to the other kids in terms of like going up and poking them or just being in their face or just being annoying while the kids are like, you're being really annoying sort of thing.
And what was the proactive teacher strategy that you were using?
I was using a lot of non-verbal cues with him.
And what did that look like?
So if I could see he was going to poke someone, I'd sort of move into his eye line and just either put my hands behind my back or cross my arms, and he'd get the message and he'd walk away or go back to his seat. Or
so the non-verbal cues really helped.
Great.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, great. And you said you talked to him as well.
Yeah. After he showed his most sort of promising of not, after a student hits him, not retaliating and walking away, because normally he'd hit back and then she would start crying and say, he hit me, and he goes, but they hit me first. He just walked away, and I had him after class and I was like, hey, I'm here to talk about how you did a really good job and I'm very impressed with how you did that, and he was just like really like chuffed and very happy.
Fantastic. Oh, that's great. So you gave him lots of positive reinforcement after the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. And what was a key IYT principle there, what do you think, for proactive teacher strategies?
It's the not singling somebody out. Because I can't think of the official names of it. Where you're like always calling somebody out on the mat for that behaviour, you know, whatever. So he doesn't feel shamed. Stuff.
Yeah.
And the positive praise, obviously.
Well, there's a little bit of redirection as well.
Yes.
Don't do that.
Yeah, lovely example of redirection happening there. Absolutely. Yeah. Did anyone have any challenges with rolling out their IBP since we were last here, where it hasn't really gone very well? Had some difficulties.
Oh, I had, mine was on camp. So there was 2 weeks of the groups going on camp.
Right.
So over the year 5, 6 space, and my learner is a year 6.
Yes.
And so they were doing things in camp groups. So there was the positive side was it was something that they were interested in, and working in the camp group meant that they had the friends from the hub next door. And it was something that the learner was interested in, so it wasn't constantly walking off or being distracted or leaving the rest of the group to do stuff. who are actually engaged in the things. So that was a pro, but it was also a challenge because it was a different routine from the normal structured routine. You know, and even though they were doing literacy and maths, they were doing it based on camp.
Right.
So it was all focused around camp. And
So it was a
if
very
you-
integrated
Yeah.
learning experience.
yeah, so if they'd been on the camp already, then they were reflecting on how they use things in the camp, you know, and writing about their experiences for literacy and working out how much it would have, you know, cost for the food, and you know, like everything was linking back to that. And if they hadn't been on it, they knew that they were going to be going on it.
Yes.
And my learner is very much a, you know, like if there is something structured like that that they are working towards going on camp, then they're quite engaged in that and not disruptive.
So do you think for your learner that him having relevance or seeing relevance actually was something that motivated him?
Yes.
Okay.
And it was something that I kind of learned towards the end of last year, that if there's something that he is, you know, so I did a life skills group with a group of year 5 to 8 learners.
Yes.
And our end result was they made their own cafe and they did food and they sold it and stuff. And they were all engaged because they had a different part. They knew how the elements worked. We went to look at a cafe, and this learner in particular was very passionate. And on the night that they did it at the exhibition, I wasn't there, but he was one of the constants. Like for the entire couple of hours, he was there because he was very passionate involved. So I get that, and I've got to try and link that so that he doesn't wander off.
Yes. So interesting you've said that you've had challenges, maybe in implementing your strategies, but the outcome for that student has been really positive because he's been engaged, he hasn't been walking off. So it's kind of happened quite naturally, but I think you've figured out that what helps your student, your target student, to be successful and stay on task is he's got to see a lot of relevance and that motivates him.
And him having the experience and stuff. So
and authentic experiences to, I guess, peg that learning onto. Yeah, okay, great. So not so much a challenge, kind of a positive outcome. I guess, what's the challenge for you now? What's the challenge?
Well, it's going to be, you know, going back in next week when they're all back on their routine. Seeing what the routine is and seeing how much, you know, like obviously with maths, we've got the new maths curriculum and stuff, but having a way to link to him that comes out in real life, which he's starting to get. But the literacy side, actually finding his passions and what he's focused on. But he does also have the not very good at reading and writing, and, you know, so it's how I get that barrier for him to actually not wander off because he can't write it or get it down, you know.
Yeah, my wondering is there a way, having seen him so successful in the last 2 weeks, because it's all sort of been around camp, how you could somehow use that as leverage to continue to motivate him? I'm not sure, I'm just thinking you've seen some really positive behaviour from him, the desired behaviours you've been trying to foster. How could you use that knowledge and what you've seen over the last 2 weeks and like those observations to cultivate more of those behaviours?
So, well, I mean, like I say, when it comes to like with literacy, where they're going to go, whether they have more freedom in picking the topics, you know, like so for instance, towards the end of last week, they were going to be writing short stories for our year 5s on, and it didn't have to be to do with camp, but it could have been to do with camp.
Okay.
And making this short story about an experience from camp. So if they have the ability to pick something that they like, focusing a bit more on that, and you know, finding out a bit more about what passions he has and what he's really interested in.
And that's a lovely IYT principle too, following student strengths and their lead and their interests. So that's great. If you could sort of say to your student sort of some positive behaviour that you saw in him to help him in achieving a task next week. Say I'm the student and you're you.
Yeah.
What might you say to me to help encourage me and motivate me from what his behaviours have been over the last 2 weeks, given it was around camp? So pretend I'm him.
Yeah, so I mean, like for instance, if it comes to working in a group, oh my gosh, you did amazing work with your camp group last week.
Oh, thanks.
You
Thanks,
know,
Gary.
and you were working with different people
Yeah.
that aren't always in your hub, and so
Yeah, that was kind of
yeah.
fun. I like that.
So now we can kind of bring that, get to know some of the new people in your hub now. You know, so
Lovely. And lovely way to, thank you, give it a little pucky pucky, a little impromptu there, but, you know, using that experience of the last 2 weeks is leverage to help, you know, foster more of that behaviour that you've seen and reminding him that he can be successful like that. And we actually talk more about that today when we do the positive forecasting, which is later on in the workshop. But
I've just pulled out these ones just from
Lovely.
that little conversation and
Yeah.
interaction that you had
great.
that
Yeah.
that reflect exactly all of those things that you're saying. So if we're talking about what were the principles that came through in there, we had the changing the negative self-image.
Yeah.
We had statements of belief and positive affirmation. We had changing negative reputations. We had a fresh start. We had the listening and taking time to understand. And we had setting up for success. So even just in that little, you know, what was that? 20 seconds, 25 seconds, you've been able to do all of those things in terms of setting that student up for a positive experience.
Awesome. Thanks everybody. That was I really enjoyed that reflection and the discussion that's just taken place. So
Can I just add one
yes,
other thing? When you were
yes.
talking as a pair, you mentioned that you've got bounce back out, bounce back out. And I was just thinking that's an amazing proactive strategy where you've thought about something that worked in the past and maybe it's kind of got back on it. Because we have that, don't we? We have amazing strategies that work and then we forget about them. So it's just lovely that you're thinking about other things that you can put in place ahead of time just to get.
Like our school program has like done it, and it's not as guided as like maths and stuff. So I've always kind of struggled to like bring it in and make it relevant for them. So I've been trying to like look at stuff within that program that I have seen needs work on, but also like a proactive thing. So a lot of my kids were like fighting or upset about like losing a game or cheating or that kind of thing. So we've been bringing in how do we be honest and fair play and that kind of like emotional support for another person. So that's been quite helpful.
So the transfer for you guys across is you guys are a Mighty school, so it might be connecting to what are the principles that are coming through from Mighty, that's the Oranga space, and you guys using zones in the Oranga space in terms of connecting back to what's the global teaching that we've had as a class or as a school that we can go back to and make those connections specifically for a student. So, yeah.
Fantastic. So we're going to move into the next topic. Okay, so the topic that we're focusing on today, attention, coaching and praise. And if you've got your IYT strategies pyramid there, you'll see we're just moving up the pyramid right into this tier here. Okay, and what we're going to do, we're just going to do a bus stop activity. And because there's only less of us than normal, I'll pop them around and we will just go in 2s and 3s. So I might get you two to work together and you three to work together, and we'll just go around and we'll just spend a few minutes discussing these questions, okay, just to get us thinking a little bit more about praise and the coaching that we do and the impact that has on our children. Okay, so would you like to start over here? Why do some children need more praise and coaching than others? We will put another one over here. Your group can start here. What is the value of teaching for children? And I'll put some on, we'll just go around. Right, off we go.
You want us to write on it?
Yeah, both go. Yep. Right, forward.
Okay, why do some children need more praise?
Can I get you to consider both of those questions at once?
Probably had a lot of negative comments. Probably received more negative comments in their journey.
Yes.
Probably. Unsafe home.
Yeah.
I've also got a couple of refugees in
They might thrive off it. Like some kids might do better on more praise.
No, actually, I didn't. And Jess, have you moved? I put them two together so that
How comfortable are you?
Oh, don't worry about it. That's okay. They'll come and do that.
taking this go.
Sorry, I can't read any English.
Praise is regular, right? This is like almost
Right from.
regularly.
But
also
yes, they were just given to
Yeah.
the
Could you do?
yeah, I thought that was okay too because at least they were constructing it themselves.
Yes.
Start more.
Yeah. Yeah, we also intentionally didn't do that last time
Yes.
because I didn't want to interrupt the flow of what was happening in the conversation. But today it was really, yeah. And I thought at least the first time they would kind of provide context.
I know, you realise what you're doing in your life.
So,
I mean, create a positive relationship and not a negative,
Also,
more trusting.
yeah, I was going to say trust and relationship.
They want, because I had one boy who was just for attention, whether it was negative or positive, and once he started focusing on positive, he worked towards trying to do better.
Also allows them to like find out more about why they're doing
Just check that definitely is working. I'm about to check it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
the social was also your friend stuff, right? I thought you did this and you can go work with your friendship group sort of thing. Is that good about? Because we do, well, we used to use ILPs for like when behaviour gets really bad. Two talking years, they moved to ILP, which is individual living plans. In the classroom, but we try not to use those because it's not ideal. You work to it with your friends, so we use that kind of a dangling carrot. If you can work together, we don't have to need time.
Yeah.
having them not
But that's kind of a social reward, but it's also a bit of bribery.
That's what I kind of do as well. I said if you can do the task at hand, then you can do it with a friend. Whereas if you can't, then I have to pair you up.
Yeah.
Or I have to,
but also
What do
like,
you consider a social reward?
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
We'll talk about it. Okay, let's stop.
moving
One over here. Yep, last one.
saying.
Oh, hang on.
This one's not the right one.
How comfortable are you
Oh, I've got two
using
colours on this one.
other social rewards, such as positive non-verbal?
Yeah, we'll just leave
How comfortable are you using other social
Oh, it's pink running out.
No, we're laughing at they're leaving the pens up.
Well, I mean, I kind of like physical warmth is in like
It's hot.
because I like my
The lid's on. Yeah,
They need
the
a
lid
little
going on and
they
then
can. But we also talk about personal boundaries that consent.
we
first.
say that, well, we don't really allow it as a rule, like we don't really allow it, but then we have certain ladies in my club that will say, I need a hug today. And I'm like, okay. And then she'll take, and then I say, well, what do you need to say? And she'll say, okay, can I have a hug? So then it's like,
Yeah.
I'm turning it around and yes, you can seek out, congratulations, well done. But also, what do you actually need to ask? Rather than saying
Yeah.
you need, what's the question?
Yeah, that's what I always say. Is like because I don't mind it, and
There's a lot
I
of
say,
people, right?
well, I've got younger kids, so they kind of seek it out a lot more. So it's like asking for that consensual, and even with their friends and stuff, it's like that working boundary.
This is just put in, yeah, like you said, a working boundary.
We have a little boundary song that we sing.
Well, I mean, it's, you know, like with being learning sport, I work mostly
Yeah.
with the year 5 to 8,
Yeah.
but I also supervise on Julie's two non-verbal twins
Yeah.
who will hold your hand or they'll come and give you a hug and stuff like that. And that's just them, that's their way of saying they're comfortable with you, they're feeling okay with you, which is different. But then when I'm on duty in the junior playground, the kids will come look at me and grab my hand to show you something. And it's that different physical warmth as to what the ages are. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna also.
But even it's just like non-verbal attention. It's like you're, instead of like when you're seeing a kid that's not doing the right thing, it's like I always try, am I smiling? Because those that have that badge is making sure that they know that you might be doing the wrong thing, but I'm still happy that you're choosing to now do the right thing.
Yeah. So it's redirection
It's
again, right?
it's your presence, it's the way you hold yourself and
And your rewards can be tangible.
Because
Stickers
yeah,
and other things.
mine is like
but it could
stickers.
be-
I do like lunch with me, so I sit down and make
And
sure
that's a
they have
social
lunch.
reward,
Yeah.
because that's you giving them time.
Yeah.
And that's the same with if I'm on duty in the seniors. I'll be like, yeah, well, I'm on duty today, so if you do well, we'll pay bananagrams or
Yeah.
whatever. But even like just like little high fives and stuff
Yeah.
like
Okay,
that.
that's
like,
lovely.
not even a
Social
touch
rewards.
one, just a, you know, they're over there.
Yeah.
You know.
I have a girl who I used to have last year, but she's now in a different class, she's 5'6", but she will seek out, like she'll come to my classroom and I always welcome them to previous years that I have, or siblings to come in and spend the morning with me, or if they want to walk around with me and Judy because they're feeling a little bit upset, then they can.
Yeah.
I mean, I always try and push them to go and hang out and see their friends, but if they need that comfort, they can. Why do some children need more praise and attention to others? Hey.
This is pretty much it on the
Yeah,
head
so probably receive all the good.
previously.
They are quite overseen. Sometimes they're overseen. They come from a big family. You know, like.
Go back to our seats.
And also a
Safe
safe place.
place.
Yeah.
Got a lot of children, right?
Thank
So many guys.
Things look great.
Thank
How are we going temperature wise?
That's good, perfect right now. Not cold.
But I'm a bit all wrapped up in a last
Yeah, it was freezing.
But you're not wearing this time, were you?
I was literally.
Was it a cold day though as well?
It was raining.
It was raining and then it went
But it was
warm.
humid. I mean,
Yeah,
like we took
It
you
was a few weeks ago.
Okay.
and like I was dressed probably similar to this and sitting here freezing, and I hadn't packed a jumper.
And we kept saying, can you just put that fish up? And then I'll be like, no, it's the perfect temperature.
Goosebumps. But it was set at like 18 or 19.
One of the women completely left the circle and sat in the corner.
Yeah, that was yeah.
She like completely removed herself.
I
She
think
was like,
we've got it on the cold setting. It doesn't matter what temperature you put it.
It's just cold.
Yeah.
I don't think that they quite knew how to work it either.
Yeah.
Because at one point they were like, just turn it off. Just turn it off.
Yeah, it's actually Orpha's fine.
Yeah.
It was it was a woman back in. So.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
Your timekeeper.
And therefore stay on topic so we can sit.
Need that coffee.
Okay, so you've done a lovely little bus-up activity and you've had some great discussion about the value of teacher attention and praise. And now we're going to think about the benefits of praise. And Emily, you happy to do some scribing up on the chart? The benefits of teacher praise with students. So what is the value and the benefit? What is the benefit of praise?
Makes the children feel seen.
How do you mean?
Well, looking at the lesson we literally just looked at is
Yes.
why children need praise and
Mhm.
it was, and it is often because either their home lives could be busy, their parents are they're absent more frequently than parents were in the past, and so they're seeking out the positive praise and sometimes the negative noticings too. It's still attention, because they're not getting as much at home anymore because parents have to work 2 jobs or they you have to do all those things, but they're just looking for it, want to be seen.
Okay.
Or heard even, just heard or seen.
So the benefit of praise is that they feel heard and they feel seen. What's some other benefits of praise?
They to add
Yes.
to that
Yeah,
is
please.
that they're actually it builds those positive relationships, and if you have a good relationship, they're more willing to do positive behavioural things.
That sounds like a lovely IYT principle there that
Thanks.
you've got. So I'm going to give you this.
Oh no, I hate
So-
it.
so you just need to-
it.
So we can support you. So what
Voluntold.
You're writing so much now. I look like a chicken's run across the page.
That's okay. So you
Chickens welcome
you
here.
said that praise is a great way to strengthen student-teacher relationships. Thank you. So we'll pop that down. It's a lovely IYT principle there. What other benefits?
I mean, it causes a more open, like, trusting relationship as well, that, like, they will disclose if they're feeling upset, but they'll also, like, seek out for support instead of, like, closing up and shutting down or, you know, bursting out. It means that they can, like, regularly check in, and then it doesn't feel, they're not bottling up emotions, they're feeling like they can
Express
express
themselves.
themselves.
So it
Yeah.
supports their emotional
Yeah.
regulation.
Help support their emotional regulation.
But
Okay.
it's also, you know, when you have that kid who they know the answer, they've got the answer, but they have that doubt in themselves.
Right.
So when you say to them, "Oh my gosh, that's the," you know, like that's the answer. Say it, you know, and they suddenly feel like, "Oh, actually, I do know what I'm doing.
Self-confidence.
I actually have
okay.
got this." You know.
So praise builds self-confidence.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Yeah, builds
Negates the negative
self-confidence.
self.
And
It decreases the negative self-talk. Praise can decrease the negative self-talk in our students. Okay.
Because I think as a learning support, when I'm walking around and I can see what the students have written down and the teacher's like, so put your hand up for the thing, they'll have it and I'll be like, no, you've actually got it, your answer is amazing. Put your hand up, say it, you know, like, and they've got that confidence and they do that. And I actually did this with a learner the other day, and the teacher was just like, oh my God, where did that come from? You know, like, that is perfectly on, you know, and it was just that they were unsure of what they'd written, and he was a boy, so it was, you know, like, yeah, it was really lovely moment. So giving them that praise of, oh my God, that's it, you've hit the nail on the head. That is what the teacher's looking for.
Lovely. So
Makes them come out and makes them have that bit more confidence. And then he started putting his hand up more during that. Yeah, so it builds the self-esteem and
It
stuff.
helps build that, like, adding to that, like, I have a student who's perfectionist, like, does not want to give it a go unless it's perfect right away. So if you can praise even them giving it a go, or even just sharing their ideas, then like it makes them more willing to actually like try and push themselves to like give it a go, even if it isn't correct. Like even just like praising, even if they make a mistake, they gave it a go.
So what I'm hearing there is the benefit of praising the process rather than the end result
Yeah.
to help them to increase maybe their task output,
Yeah.
okay, their belief in themselves.
Praise
Fantastic.
also allows us to give them next steps. They're more open to receiving feedback
Okay.
about what they need to do. Like, I really like how you, next time can you, sort of structure.
Makes them more reflective on themselves and they can make like next step goals.
They're just more open, as opposed to if you just came in without the praise component, they'd be like, I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is praise builds their self-esteem, as you said, and then they're more receptive to other types of feedback that you might give them.
Yeah.
Yep. So it helps them be more open. So you believe that benefits of praise helps students to be more open to feedback. Beautiful. Okay. Any other ideas around the benefits of praise?
Could reinforce desired behaviours.
So praise can reinforce desired behaviours. Lovely.
It also models how they should interact on a social level. So from a friendship building perspective, or just that understanding, you're sort of modelling what good relationships look like.
Yes. Great. So praise
Not really
can model. That's lovely. So praise models for other children as well, the expectations.
It just models on that social interaction level what good friendship looks like.
Yeah.
Lovely.
And like even how you like communicate, like if you're praising them, then it also allows them to then, if they see their friend doing anything or another student in their class, they might also bring that praise and respond by praising other peers as well. If they hear it, then they're like, oh, they are doing a good job. I want to let them know that I think that as well. So it builds that like positive talk within the classroom and a sense of community.
That
So have we
ripple
got up
effect.
there? So
Loving that for us right
praise.
now.
Yeah. So have we got up there, Emily, as well? What Alex has just said, that praise increases classroom climate or classroom tone, makes the space feel more positive in general. Okay, that's another lovely
And that
benefit.
peers praising each other is modelling that.
And so it encourages praising, that children praise each other as well. Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that. Any others that we want to add to the list of how praise is beneficial? I think we've got a great list there.
I think it's just important to note that you can do it across all of the curriculum areas, and whenever you see them doing what they're supposed to be doing, it's not just to structured learning inside the classroom, it's like at any time.
Even in the playground.
On duty,
Right.
as they come in, oh, I noticed that you're ready for learning, well done, that kind of stuff. It's not just about what they're doing academically.
Right, so praise across the curriculum and in a variety of contexts. I'm hearing not just academic, praising for what they're doing in the playground, so it might be their social competency, their emotional competency. Great.
But there's also they can take that home, and if their home life isn't the greatest home life,
Yes.
and they go home and they say the teacher said I did a really good job at this,
Mm-hmm.
it will change the parents' response of it as well. So the praise that the kid will bring home, I don't know, but if you're in a home situation where the
Yes.
parents think that you're worthless, you're not very good, and then you come home and you say this, the parent might actually start thinking, oh,
Okay.
actually, so it could change the home dynamics a little
Yeah,
bit
okay.
with the kid just coming home saying this,
Praise could benefit the family. It could help the family reframe the way that they're seeing their child if they're looking at things quite negatively. Okay, so it can have positive impacts in the home as well.
Well, if the parent only ever hears like what's going wrong with the kid or the undesired behaviours, then, you know, I had a parent that was like, I just wish my kid was normal, I wish that he could just do this or do that. If you're communicating the things that he is doing well, then it changes the way that they're thinking, and then they can help promote that positive behaviour at home as well as in the classroom, so that then they're able to get context in all parts of their life as well.
And parents like praise too.
Yeah.
Parents like praise too. Don't we all? Okay, so now we'll move on to the barriers of praise. So, do you have any?
You could say that if you do it too much, they start to expect it.
Okay, so
They only behave
so you
well.
believe that a barrier to praise could be that the student will just expect it,
Constantly need it.
and,
Yeah.
Or only
and
work because of it.
Yeah.
or that they might only work
Not seen it personally, but you know.
because they're seeking praise. Okay, what any other?
I don't think it should be
Barriers?
praise for the sake of praise. I think it needs to be specific.
Or like not artificial, like just saying it just because.
So what I'm hearing
a
is
reason that
The barriers you think you perceive a barrier to praise could be if it hasn't got weight, or it doesn't have an authenticity to it, or it's not specific enough. Okay.
You're just throwing it around because it's your target child, and you're like, oh, I'm just throwing praise.
I think also like if you're just saying you're doing a great job, it might like lose that meaning of what it actually is that you're praising. Like being specific, being like, I really like how you came down onto the mat, making sure that they actually understand what it is you're praising.
So so you've identified, you think that a barrier would be if it wasn't specific enough.
I think also you need to get the balance of your classroom right. So maybe this is one of the benefits of having twins, but one of mine will notice if I've given the other one lots of praise and then they haven't received any, for example.
Yes.
And they'll get that feeling of like, oh, they're the favourite. A little bit like the child might get the reputation of being the naughty kid if you're always telling them off. If you're always praising them, they might be seen as the favourite.
Okay, so what am I hearing this right, that you perceive a barrier to praise could be if there's a disproportionate number of praise to some students?
I think also you need to make sure that you are not just praising those like target students, or that when the kids that often show undesired behaviours, when they do, that you're only praising that you're still praising the kids that are constantly doing the right thing, that they feel seen and heard as well.
Yeah, so could that be a barrier, could be if you don't have the time to
divvy it out.
give out praise to other children who are deserving of it too.
It's like if it's like, oh well, he did it once, why is he getting a reward or a praise when I do it all the time and get nothing? It's just like making sure that it is divvied out and balanced, and that each of the.
So the barrier to praise can be if you haven't, just getting the balance right in the classroom, okay?
Yeah, because you might have those students who are always doing the right thing, and then they're getting punished for the kids, like as a whole, the whole class might be getting punished for the same kids do wrong, but when the kids that do wrong get praise, the others are like, but we're always doing that, but we're suffering the consequence when they do something wrong, but we don't get a reward when they do something right, so it can be, it definitely happens a lot in the hub. But there could also be the barrier, to praise in the fact that you're drawing attention to them and they don't want that attention. So some kids will crave attention, others don't want that attention.
Right.
So it's choosing how you praise and when you praise.
So the barrier to praise is getting the praise right for the child.
Whether or not you do it, like when some kids want the whole class to hear them getting praised. Where some might just want like a tap on the shoulder quietly, hey, you're doing really great, like that kind of thing. So they don't feel like the attention's on them.
Or in turn, you've also got when kids don't care.
Yeah.
Just like, give great feedback, yeah, whatever.
So a barrier to praise can be those students who don't seem to respond well to the praise.
Yeah, like aren't receptive, they're like, whatever.
Just don't care. Yeah.
Right.
They just go over their heads. They're just like, oh, well done, Cynthia. You've done it on time, well done. And it was like, great. I'm only thinking of 7 and 8s, right? Like, a lot of the kids under that year 6 barrier would probably be like, yeah, great. I think the 7 and 8s just like, whatever.
Right.
Unless it's because they like don't have a reward that goes hand in hand with that.
Pre-teens?
praise.
Yeah.
Or because sometimes they might assume if they're going to get praised that it means that there's like a benefit or a reward. If it means like free time, oh yeah, I'm doing great, now I get free time. Is that if you're just giving them the praise, they're like, I don't care because I'm not getting anything out of it. Could it be that as well?
So I heard that a barrier to praise can be getting it right for the right context, the right age group, because you were saying that your year 7 and 8 students will respond quite differently to praise to those students in the junior school.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't like sticker chats.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but also you don't want to sound condescending.
Oh, yes.
Good job. It
Yeah.
just comes across to the intermediates that you're being condescending or sarcastic, which to be
That's what I
fair.
said. Some kids just don't care. They're just like, just trying to get feedback again.
So looking at the benefits and barriers that you've identified here for praise, I can see some patterns coming through with the benefits. I can see that the children, the effectiveness for the students in terms of receiving praise, and noticing with the barriers maybe around sort of teachers having the time, knowing the student well enough to know how the student will receive the praise and whether they'll receive it in a positive light. So over the course of today's workshop, we are hopefully going to notice lots of benefits that you've pointed out already, and hopefully we can mitigate some of the barriers that you've identified for praising our students. So great, well done everybody.
Cute little dance.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put some of our
And is that pretty
benefits down as principles as well, because they kind of cover both.
Okay, right, we will now move into the introduction. As we watch the introduction of this topic, just using your post-it notes, if you just jot down a couple of key points, bullet point, any key ideas that you pick up on, maybe just 2 or 3 that resonate with you of what Carolyn says in her introduction around the importance of teacher attention, encouragement and praise. Oh, is that right? Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Let me just put that on a different button. Okay,
When we look at the classroom environment to see what factors help children become motivated and successful learners, the quality of the teacher's attention emerges as one of the most important factors.
Oh, you fixed it. Good for you.
Consistent and meaningful encouragement and praise from a teacher build children's self-esteem and contribute to trusting and supportive relationships. These forms of attention to positive behavior reinforce and nurture children's growing academic and social competence. Yet, research has shown that teachers often give more of their attention to negative behavior than to positive behavior in their classrooms. Not surprisingly, this attention reinforces the negative behavior, leading to increased behavior problems. When teachers recognize the power of their attention as a reinforcer of students' behavior and begin to simultaneously decrease their attention to negative behavior and increase their use of attention, praise, and encouragement for positive behavior, it has a dramatic impact, not just on the individual child, but on the whole classroom.
Aaron and Sarn and Frederick are ready. Is honor asking today?
For in observing what a teacher pays attention to, children are learning what behaviors are valued by their teacher.
Okay, what were some of the key points that came through?
The quality of the praise that is meaningful and directed.
Lovely. What else?
There's more benefit for giving the attention to behaviour that they see as appropriate as opposed to focusing on the negative behaviours.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like it ripples that effect of if they see the desired behaviour or like they know what the teacher is looking for, that it will cause other kids to continue to then seek that behaviour too.
Great. Any other comments, things that you've noticed?
That it's consistent, like that having that consistent praise as well, that it's not just like once in a while, or that one day you might be praising and then the next day not at all. It's just having that consistency.
They'll learn what's valued.
Yeah.
What the last thing they said was.
Nothing else? Any other noticings? You didn't want to glean from the introduction and share back? Okay, well we're going to move into the first vignette of the day. And just a reminder that the vignettes, although dated, we can still pull out strategies that are effective in today's classrooms, and also it invites us to have some good discussion and reflection around what we're seeing. Okay.
Children is positive recognition in the form of attention, encouragement, and praise. The first step in using positive recognition effectively is to identify the target behaviors you want to encourage in each child. Your attention, praise, or encouragement should immediately follow the behavior within 5 to 10 seconds. Watch how the teachers in the following scenes use praise to motivate their students.
You say extremely good. Juggling. Juggling. Now you read it. Start again. Extremely. Good. Nice job, Greg.
Okay. So what do you think of the teacher's use of praise there?
Can you get specific to them by using their name?
So the teacher personalised it by, saying his name. Yeah.
It's instantaneous. And only after he completed the task. She didn't talk over him.
Reinforce that, like he gave it a go, tried it again, and that she met the expectation.
Okay, so what did she say at the end? What was the praise statement she used?
Good job.
Okay, good job. Do we think we could have improved on that? Would you possibly improve on that good job?
You can be more specific.
Oh,
Say
yeah.
good job
What
on your reading.
Good job on your reading?
Or even
Okay.
just sounding out, or
Yeah.
that kind
Good
of thing.
So what would you say?
I would say,
It's okay.
well done on sounding out then.
Well
Or
done on sounding
thanks
out.
for giving it a go. Or
Well done,
things.
thanks for giving it a go.
You could acknowledge that it was tricky, because
Yeah.
that was a really tricky
That
word.
was a
Well
really-
done.
That was a really tricky word. Well done.
Or being determined.
Okay. So what I'm hearing there is a lot more specific praise statements from all of you.
So could we agree that maybe that was a little bit vague?
Yeah.
The only thing is that it is fairly instantaneous right in that moment. So you could infer that he is saying good, she is saying good job for that moment because it happens and she's still sitting with him and she's still making eye contact with him, you know, at that.
And I assume she wants to continue his reading, so it's not, it's like a quick comment, well, she's got a second, good job, well done, let's keep, keep going, sort of thing. Let's not spend too long praising. Let's move on. Do you have in the middle or something?
Yes, so we're going to watch the second vignette and we're going to watch the teacher praise a student through the process of spelling.
What about the next word? 300. How would I write that? Keisha?
H
Good.
U
Good.
N
Good.
D
Good.
I
Good.
E
Good.
D.
Good. Nice job.
Nice job. Is the repeated praise necessary after each letter?
Oh my god, that would drive me
That would drive me.
So it would
As a
depend on the learner.
I would just wonder
Yes.
though, is that if she did get it wrong, how she would feel if she didn't hear good. Do you know if she got most of the way and then she got it spelt wrong, if she didn't hear that good, what that would mean for her? And like, would it maybe then draw more attention to her that she got it wrong from the other peers? That's my only observation.
I agree with you. I think it'd be worse if you were like,
Oh,
now go back 5 letters.
yeah, just good.
Feels like you could potentially talk over them and lose their train of thought too.
Yeah.
They're in a flow. But she'd obviously written it down so she could.
Well, maybe she knows her kids and she knows that they like the
So what if I said that she was a very reluctant writer and we've all had kids like that where getting even them to write one word can be an incredible task. So if this learner really struggled with writing and getting each letter on the page, do we think that praise would have been effective?
So I have some thoughts.
Right.
Is that for those learners, they sometimes just need that time to process too. So if you are talking over that silence constantly, you're not allowing them to process on what they should be focusing on. So if they are a reluctant writer, they actually just need a moment. And so, cause I used to be shocking it. I'm a true fill the silence person. I will do it constantly all day long.
Right.
And it's something that I really had to learn to let learners take a moment to actually process what the teaching is and not continually fill that silence, giving them that silence.
Because they're being more
Take time.
focused on the praise than actually completing the task of spelling it out. And especially because I'm a terrible speller, if I was trying to work it out and say it in my head, I would almost forget where I was up to if I was more hearing good. I'd be like, what was the next thing that I'm doing, or that kind of thing.
I've got a reframe as well. If she's got it written in her book and the teacher's already preempted it, then what effect is that praise having? What if that was the setup? What would the purpose of the praise be?
Oh, so she's already seen it prior to going to the board.
Yeah.
It just goes back to the praise for praise sake.
Yep. If it was a reluctant participator.
I mean, also too though, I would have probably checked to see how if she had gotten it correct, and then I would have praised her there and seen her work. I wouldn't do it at the board more so.
But we know she's not reluctant because she's the one that put her hand up to participate.
Well, the teacher would have encouraged it, right? Like, got it right.
I'm just like
They're
to
just different
reframe. I was
contexts,
gonna say, I just wonder if we saw it as somebody who didn't think she was going to be able to spell it. So she's got the H, good. Maybe, perhaps reframing it as a child who might not be able to spell it correctly.
that shaming component. If she thinks that she's not going to be the one that spells it correctly, would you call one here in the first place and risk that opportunity without having had a squiz over her shoulder during the wander round or whatever, gallery walk style?
What would she do if she spelled it wrong?
Well,
Yeah.
that
And like good, bad.
And
Try
the other-
again.
Bomb.
Oh.
For the whole class.
I'd be like,
Ruin
oh,
the
try
self-confidence.
again, sound it out with me. That would be kind of what she would do if she did not have it spelled correct. But then would be like, oh, try that again, sound it out. And if it's not a word that you can sound out too, then it kind of loses the purpose. I just as a structured literacy code person now, it's just like that kind of thing. You have to make sure that that student is achievable, and that's where now when we are spelling out words and stuff, we kind of do it as a class, and so that if they aren't confident, they can still hear it everyone else, and then it's more successful.
How would you feel if you were the other students who got it wrong?
Yeah.
And she's saying good, and they've got one of the letters wrong. The children that have got it wrong are like, I've got that wrong.
I'm not good.
I'm not good. Yeah. I mean, the praise at the end, yes, you've spelt the word correct, sort of thing. But the good as another learner in that situation would annoy. If I was another learner in that class, I'd be like the girl that's in front, it looks like she's got her head down.
So I think
Yeah.
that's a good point to Karen, that you have to read the room and you have to, like for instance with this girl, she actually genuinely seems really proud of her accomplishment of each letter that she's getting right, and it seems to be supporting her to the process of spelling. It seems to be supporting her to write the word correctly. So in this instance, I think it's probably been effective for this learner, but it comes back to know thy learner, and I think that's a really important key principle as well. So good discussion. Okay, so we'll move on to the next vignette, which is 4, and we're just going to notice how this next teacher uses praise. I think this is quite a quick one.
This is how this next teacher uses praise.
Thank you, and Frederick last name.
My skin is very delicate.
Very good. I like your word. Delicate is a very nice word.
So how effective is this praise as a reinforcer and motivator for that student?
It's more specific.
What
So
was
she-
specific about
Well,
it?
she repeated the word that she liked, and
Which
she
was
delicate,
Yeah.
and so she identified that what he said was good,
Yeah.
gave an example of what she liked, and then the kid can now go, oh yeah, delicate was a great word to use, and be able to understand what it is that he's being praised for. So he's more likely to use words like that again.
But also the whole classes. If they are also hearing, okay, we want interesting vocab, she's saying, yes, I'm picking that out, we can identify that's an interesting vocabulary, then all the learners can reflect on their own writing and go, oh, have I used a good adjective,
Even those kids that haven't got the word delicate can now borrow that word as well,
Yes.
and know that it is a correct word. I always when you're in the class, I could be like, oh yeah, I really like how you've done that. Then they can also borrow that word, and then they feel like they've been successful as well.
So what I'm hearing is you feel that drawing or bringing to the positive attention to that lovely vocab delicate has not only increased the self-confidence of that particular learner and made them feel like they've done something really well, they've been really successful, but equally you've identified that actually that's hopefully also going to have a ripple-on effect with the other learners in the classroom. So that praise is not only effective to that particular student, but is going to be beneficial for many.
We're using the
lovely.
praise to set expectations. So she also did it when they were lining up a few vignettes ago. I like how blah blah blah, I can't remember the student's name, is ready to go,
Yes.
and she's doing it now with the I like how you sort of scenario.
Yeah, and it means that then if kids have something similar to share, like, oh oh, I've also had this adjective to describe it, they're more likely to share because they'll also want to get that praise, and then it causes a more like well-rounded discussion and like more in-depth thinking. It causes that thinking to happen more.
So it's because you praise the word and not the child.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Lovely discussion. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the next vignette, and we're going to see a teacher observing a child's work and praising enthusiastically. Think about what she says and the way she delivers it. We'll need to watch it carefully because it's a short one. You're doing very well.
Oh, you praised it. Good job. Let me write today's date on here. Nice working, Odessa.
So what effect did this teacher's praise convey to Odessa?
She doesn't seem to notice.
You didn't think she noticed?
Or just looking at the eye contact, like
Ah.
she's more focused on whatever she's playing over here, that she's not actually listening to the teacher. Just
Teacher used her name again at the end to try and bring her back in to personalise it.
What did she say specifically at the beginning? I missed
She put the date on the paper.
oh,
No,
it's
she
a
said
good work.
No,
You
you
need a-
traced it.
You traced it or something.
Oh, you traced it.
Do you think the fact that she came right up to Odessa, was that a positive thing? Why?
It's personalised.
It's personalised. It brings a bit more warmth and sincerity maybe to the
draws it
praise.
into her as well.
Yeah. Gets right kind of on her level.
We'll watch it again.
You
We'll
want
watch
to
it
watch
again.
it
Yeah.
again?
I want to see what the child was
Test
doing
my
initially and what she was doing at the
Yes,
end.
I don't know about you, but where I'm sitting, I
Oh,
did
she
turn the
initially
light off,
watched
but it's very, for me, there's a lot of reflection. I'm not sure if you're getting that.
I've
I'm
got
not
no
getting
issues,
any.
yeah.
Are you okay?
You're
You're okay?
yeah.
Cool. Okay, great.
I don't know
But
whether
I
she was
can't
initially
actually,
making eye
I
contact,
can't
so I
see
was like, I
Odessa.
just wanted to...
Just,
Oh, she is watching it, yeah. So initially she's looking at it.
yeah, I've seen it a few times. So
She's showing her work to her.
oh, thank you. Yay, Emily. I can see so much better
That just
now.
in itself as a screen capture is quite a good.
Yeah, she is looking up at the
It clears up a lot now.
Yeah.
I'll
Right.
read through.
Okay.
Praised it. Good job.
She's seeking the attention.
Let me write today's date on here.
She's got in that praise now.
Nice working, Odessa.
She sought out the attention, but like she was holding it, wasn't she?
Yeah, and even she touched Odessa's shoulder and said it again.
Yes.
Good job, Odessa.
Yes.
But she
So-
also got the attention and the I've done what I need to do. I can go on to this now.
Yes.
You know, like playing with the pens.
And so
Well,
that
she
was
knocked it
a
over.
that was a lovely example of a social reward too, with her putting her hand on her shoulder. So again, giving that physical warmth and connection. So that's lovely.
We
What
don't touch in year
children?
7, 8.
What's that?
We don't touch in year 7, 8.
Absolutely.
No touching.
Yeah, and every school has their own policies on that.
You just don't want to be touched.
Not by me.
I definitely see in the year 7 8 hubs and single cells, I'll see some fist pumps, I'll see, you know, things like that, and facial expressions that just show how proud the teacher is of their students.
Would yours like fist pumps and things? Or do you think that's
We dab up.
Oh yeah.
What is that?
Because I'm so cool.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like a
Where they do the whole, and you've got to cup your hand so it makes a popping noise, and then you move your hand so your hands are like, yeah, because I'm really cool.
Sometimes you can do like a handshake or something. Well, I was always saying with like the like consent, it's just like a lot of my girls like hug, so I'll do a hug, but they have to ask first, boundaries. But then we might do like a high five or a fist pump or a good job. That kind of thing.
Lovely.
And so what do you call that?
A dab up.
Yeah,
The what, sorry?
dab up.
Dab up. Okay.
Dab
I'm
up.
saying it all wrong. I have to get a cool.
No, that's alright. I
Thank
mean,
you.
they really like the fact that I'm actually really not that cool, and they think it's funny that I try to do
I
it.
get that too with my son, because you know, I have to use words like, oh my god, that's so Sigma. Oh.
Oh, yeah, but I do
oh,
it
and
with,
that's so skibbity.
I do it with so
And they
much
just crack up.
sarcasm. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so fun.
And they're like, oh.
And his
then I go,
friends
"Whoa."
all look at him and, like, and they have a laugh, and then I just go,
I completely mock it.
it's so fun.
And then if I mock it all the time, they'll stop using it in their writing, hopefully, because it won't be cool anymore.
Isn't that
That's
one of our
my
IYT
reverse
principles?
psychology.
What's one of our IYT principles around building relationships and the proactive teacher to have
Fun.
Oh, so you're doing it. What children do you think you need to be, you know, really enthusiastic around your praise for, you know, where it's going to be particularly effective?
Can you say that again?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So for which children will enthusiasm,
Yeah.
the way you just showed how you know, praise, be really more important to which students will it be particularly important?
Children that are on the spectrum,
Okay, why?
because they don't show a lot of emotion themselves.
Okay.
Or they can't
Or they might
read
find it hard to
social.
read the
Yeah.
social cues. You might have to be
Really exaggerate.
over exaggerate. Okay,
Or
lovely.
an explicit too.
Be more explicit. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a few on the spectrum, and for them it's hard to. They can't really understand like facial expressions or anything like that. So if you're explicitly saying it or showing how or why,
So if you're
they're able to make that connection and be like, oh, okay.
So if you're really explicit, they're less likely to miss the praise as well. Yeah. And something that Emily might want to share, I don't want to speak over her, but did you know about when you've seen a teacher
Oh gosh.
who hasn't changed their tone? And
Yes,
do you want to
yeah.
share that experience?
Yeah.
What am I
yeah.
sharing?
No, Emily's going to.
I'm writing.
Oh.
So on with children.
Oh, it was just around that,
Explicit.
making you, what signals or things you are doing to make it really explicit to a child who might not read what you're doing.
So so you might put the principles as praise, being explicit with praise.
To support neurodivergent learners.
There you go.
We also talked about facial thing, making really
Explicit.
For sure.
Yeah,
You
there's
write
lots of
it how
big
you want
long
to,
yeah.
yeah.
Spoken words I can't
Yeah.
spell.
Yeah, you put it
We're
in
all
your
here to
words,
help
that's
you.
fine.
Praise.
Yeah, so I had been
Such
talking
teaching.
with Michelle and Jenny about a context that I was in a coaching situation with a teacher who it was the thing we were working on was that praise. So she was working with year 7 and 8 students, and the praise was wrapped up in all of the things that were kind of happening. And it was whether you so the conversation was around whether you draw out the praise and how you make the praise explicit so it's recognised when it's been given. So is it just part of a natural conversation? And if it is, if your tone is just neutral and consistent the whole way through, do the children recognise the difference in terms of that emotional shift to say, actually, what you've done right now is exceptional, you know, rather than, oh yeah, that was, and it just all continues the same. So it's, you know, when does it change? What is the impact? Yeah. The contrast to that is working with some teachers who have an autistic student and who had done something really good, and across their hub I saw it happen multiple times as the student was going to share their work with the different teachers, and all of them did it the same. So they made her turn and they said to her, look at me, I am so excited. This is what I look like because I'm excited about what you've done. So that was that shift again for this little person who struggles to read what emotions look like. So they were really specific. And then the next teacher she went to show, they were like, I'm really excited. And they all did this gesture where it was, look at, I'm really excited. And then they had, let's do our excited dance. So they had a little dance that they did together to show this is us being excited, and this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of
Very
ties to what you're saying in terms of that being
Well,
really
even
explicit.
I've got a lot of ESOL like doesn't speak much English in my class, so acting out what I'm expecting or the praise, even
Yes,
using my
yeah.
hands and stuff, can help them to like understand
Yeah,
what I'm saying. I'll be like, oh my god, I'm really happy that you grabbed your book and you're like sitting down. They're able to understand it. I had one kid was like, why are you using sign language or like showing with your hands what you're doing, and like so that everyone can understand.
And even the language barrier is overcome
Yeah.
by the change in intonation in your voice and your change in, you know,
Great
Non-verbal,
points.
facial.
Great.
non-verbal.
Yeah.
So,
the non-verbals.
Yeah.
facial.
But yeah, great points. We'll go on to vignette 10, where the teacher's looking at a student's work. And think about
The
why.
teacher's way of
sorry. Okay, just think about why the teacher makes the comment that he makes.
Good job with the pictures, Natalie. Maria, your pictures are really, really full. A lot of things going on in there. Next time I'd like to see some more color, okay?
Why do you think the teacher made the comment about the picture being full?
He was scrabbling for words.
Yeah, was wanting to give her a compliment, but
Yeah.
wasn't quite sure what to.
I
Yes.
started a
what-
sentence before it actually looked
Oh, where do I take this and what do I say here?
Especially without knowing what the task is that he was wanting them to do. Is like, you've done some work and I'm really happy that you've done the work, but without actually knowing what
or knowing what the success criteria is.
Yeah. And you know, complimenting her first and then being like, next time I would like to see some colour or something. Is like what I was saying over there at the bus stop was like have a kind of positive sandwich of like compliment, a next step, compliment, because you know some kids don't like just hearing the negatives, is having that like compliment sandwich is good.
I had the opposite yesterday, where I was that student and one of my kids was that teacher. I was teaching a new maths that I've never done before, and I got to the answer and I was explaining, because it's like number bonds and I load them, and I'm working out and I've got the textbook open, so I'm looking at it, I'm explaining what we're doing and how and I get to the answer and we're doing takeaway, and my answer is bigger than the original number I started with, and I stop and I stare and I'm like, where on earth have I gone wrong in my maths? And I freeze and I'm like staring at the board, and one of my kids goes, everyone, Miss Jess is frozen, it means she doesn't know what to do. And he goes, do you think it would be useful if I gave you our textbook to you? And I was like, I have it open. And he was like, oh, shall we try again? And I was like, yes, where did we go wrong? And he goes, our aunt's bigger. And I was like, good. We rub it out and we're like, let's try again. And I stop and I'm like, okay, get to this little part. And he's like, oh, she stopped again. And I went, shh.
You know that means you're modelling, like it's okay to get it wrong. To get it wrong. And to give it a go again.
Oh, it was interesting. And then one of the students, when we had finally figured it out and we sent them off, she worked it out a different way, thank God. And when she was like, looked at how she did it and I was like, that is fabulous. We're going to bring everyone to the mat and I'm going to show them the way that you've done it. And so then we went to the mat and everyone was like, that is much better than what you did, Miss Jess. And I was like,
but it means that like they can see that you're human, that you make mistakes, and not that always the teacher's not always correct, and that it's okay if they're not correct, so that we can, and you then had everyone support you, so that then if they get wrong, that they're going to get supported as well, and that you can break down the steps so that then you can be successful as well.
No, that's what he said. Miss Jess, trying to open the textbook. I went, I have. It is. My example's right there. But clearly his examples are good enough for me.
Okay, what we're going to do is a very quick activity, and there's two parts to the activity. You're going to take this, and you're going to get started now and just start drawing a picture of your family.
Oh golly, it's not taking
So start drawing a picture of your family. Off you go.
How
This is
in
part
detail?
1. Don't worry, I'm going to give you about a minute.
Oh. Oh my god, I'm ringing.
It might be your furry animal. It might be a picture of your whole family. Might be a picture of your parents. Or a full-blown family portrait. Oh, good job. Well done. Oh, that's fantastic. Nice work.
Pretty fun,
Good stuff.
I sort of lie though, like.
No,
Okay, now we're going
Hot
to.
dog!
It's okay. We haven't finished. Right, carry on doing your family portraits. Okay? And this is part 2. Oh wow, I love the way you managed to put in the detail of your person's hair like that. I can see that the person has really long hair. Fantastic. Oh, look at your family. I love the way you've included their nationalities and where they come from by using the flags. That's really creative. Oh, look, I didn't know you had little fur babies as well. That's fantastic. And look at how you've got the proportions right with all your people in your family. I can tell who the daddy and the mummy is. Good job.
Okay, so that just went weird.
Wow. You have used so much detail. You've used so much detail in that family portrait. Keep it up. I love the detail. Really good work there. Oh, nice job. Look at how you've worked really hard to get the shape of the eyes right, and you've thought about the eyeball and the iris. That's wonderful. And you've even got the proportion of the nose and the mouth right, just like we talked about. Good job. Okay, we'll stop there. That's the end of that little topic. That little exercise. Okay. Right, so what did you notice about the first time, part 1, compared to part 2 of the activity? Thinking about yourself as a child, obviously, not as an adult right now. Just put yourself back in the classroom when you're young and you're doing an artwork, being asked to do a family portrait. How did it feel, part 1 compared to part 2 when it came round?
Part 2 made you want to make eye contact because it was more personal to what you were doing.
Okay.
Whereas part 1 you just ignored.
Okay.
I didn't really see any benefit in looking over you to.
Ah, so
receive
you
that
wanted
praise.
to receive that warmth and the connection from me through my
Yeah,
my
I didn't feel the need
praise.
to look up to see you on the first round. On
Right.
the second round, I was like, yeah, I want to look at you because I'm receiving praise, and I think respect is given when.
Right, and it felt more meaningful. Okay, lovely.
It
What
was
else?
personalised, and it was like they could understand what it was that you actually looked at, and it wasn't just, oh, you've done a great job. It's like, oh, now I know that you've actually taken the time to look at my work. You've seen something that I've done well, and now I want to continue doing more so that I can get more praise.
Okay, great. So it made you feel motivated to want to continue to do well, follow the task, do your best.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Other comments?
I didn't really pay any attention to it.
That's okay. That's okay, Karen. You were in the zone. You were in the zone.
Like anxiety or something, especially around art and drawing, and I had like quite the perfectionist class, so they don't want to do it wrong, or they don't want to give it a go because they think that they're bad drawers. So if you're able to compliment something well that they've done, they're more likely to still give it a go, or that you have again liked it, so that then they don't think, oh, I'm a bad drawer. You're just saying it for the sake of it. They want to keep going.
So when I gave just general feedback the first week, opposed to the second time when I was being more specific and labelling the praise I was giving, my question is, did it also help in any way with other people's creativity when they, not Karen because she was in the zone and she was in her flow, but did it help anyone else to go, oh, that was a good idea, or I'm going to make sure I put that into my artwork? I'm just wondering.
I heard you talking
To others?
Rachel, and I suddenly went, oh bugger, I'm not as far through. She's done a whole family and she's managed to put flags on, and so then I panicked that I'm like, I've only done my kids, I haven't even got onto it. And then you got to Sarah and I was just like, she's done the whole family. I'm not going to finish this task in time. That was what went through my mind. Yeah, no, but I had, cause I didn't realise until I looked over and I was like, oh, she just did stick me and I've got detox.
Right.
So I was listening to the praise you were giving others and thinking,
It put you into a little bit of a panic.
that she's done the fur babies, maybe I should have just stuck to, like, it made me think of something different than what I could have done, but
Okay.
I did panic that I wasn't
Yeah, you had
going
a
to finish
little
the
panic.
task in time.
And I guess hopefully it's good to think about that, I think, in the classroom, and whether those learners who might be like that, and making sure, I guess, we put a little bit more support around them and make sure that they feel like they are on track and doing the right thing. That's a really valid
See,
point.
I'm one of those, you would need to give me a timeline.
Yes.
I need you to draw them within 5 minutes, and I would do that.
We give you a minute.
I would have done that.
Well,
And
yeah.
you do that
So I
as
have
president.
a student who's on the spectrum, and she could like spend half an hour doing a task, or she could spend 5 minutes. So I have like a little timer that she stands, and then that way she knows what the expectation of time is for herself. And so then if I give her 10 minutes, then she's able to time it out appropriately. And then when we first tried it, she was actually finishing her work way before the timer was done, that she actually could then have some fun, freedom and free time, which she'd never done before, and that made her really happy and felt like that she could self-manage herself, where beforehand she would never finish her work and she felt really ashamed because then she couldn't go off and have that free time which she wanted to be able to do. So having that like time expectation and stuff, because I know some kids that will finish everything in 10 minutes, and then some that will take 2 days to complete the task. So.
Okay, we are moving on to vignette 8, and then we'll do the last activity.
We've only got 9 minutes.
Yes, great.
Thank you.
In fact,
It would have
we
been a
cannot
10-minute
do
warning,
vignette 8. Right, we'll leave that. We'll go straight into this. You've done that activity, and you can keep your lovely portraits, and you can keep doodling if you like, if that doesn't, if that helps
I'm
with
good
your
given
learning.
you thought I was a man.
Hey.
Oh no!
It's really important to know though, Luna, just saying.
Yeah.
Single mum here with 3 kids, not one in that.
I've got a lovely
I'm not a
floating
female,
family.
And have you got 2 brothers?
Yeah, I've got 2 older brothers as well. It's a big family, that's why I said, oh, it might take a while.
Sorry.
Get a
That's
rid of
right.
twins at the end.
So, because there's so many of us, what we will do is this particular activity, and we'll do this until morning tea time, the next 8 minutes, label, praise, conversation, and record bus stop activity. So the idea here is, 1, you brainstorm behaviours you would like to see more of for each of our New Zealand key curriculum key competencies, and 2, record just 1 or 2 behaviours under the key competency and record a labelled praise. So for example, the one you just did there with the art, the key competency from the New Zealand curriculum that it might relate to could be which one of these? Participating, thinking, relating to others, understanding language symbols, managing self. Which one might that lend itself to?
Well, your relation to others is your personalised praise.
Do you think that maybe it could be that art activity, if we were saying behaviours I want to see more of in terms of managing self was being able to get on with the task quickly and quietly. So maybe it's around being able to just get on with the task. Yes, and then what might be the labelled praise statement around that?
I really like how you were able to sit down quietly and start your
So
task.
so you were focused and got straight onto the task. Lovely. Okay. It could have been also maybe to do with thinking, because you think about your family and what might be the behaviour that you were seeing during that activity.
Depending on how much detail, you could be like, I really like the fact that you spent time to think about what details you've included in your drawing, or
How you differentiated the different people in your family.
yeah.
Okay, great. And then you do your label praise to that. So I think you've got a great idea of how this little activity works, and you can use it in any context. It could be to do with reading, and for your high-end learners, maybe it's to do with inferencing or making connections. Maybe with your juniors, it's being able to blend the word together, or maybe it's segmenting out the sounds. So yeah, does that make sense? So I think what we'll do is you two can do that together and just focus on a couple, and participating and contributing, you two can do that one together, and then would you like to work? We'll do maybe you can choose. Would you like relating to others, thinking, or managing self? Managing self?
The old. I'll let you take the privilege of writing on there.
It's messy and I'm left-handed, so we'll see.
My daughter's left-handed.
And contributing. In the task that we just did, or just in general?
In general, you can choose. So it could be like I said, maybe it's reading, and if it was senior level, maybe it's around inferencing. That might be the key skill, and then maybe the label.
I like the way that you put up your hand to contribute to the class discussion. You know, when they try to talk over on top of each other.
Absolutely. So the skill would be not interrupting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the label praise statement. I like the way you waited and put your hand up. So you put your hand up and waited for your turn. That's a great example of a label praise statement. Yeah.
All the praise statements you've got.
Working together.
It's a hard one.
It's a hard one.
Yeah.
Understanding language.
It's not sure okay, so if you're thinking more broadly in terms of what the key competencies are looking at,
And waiting.
the key
So
competency
sometimes I
around
get kids that have their hand up and they'll still hold it up.
And waited.
including decoding,
Waited your turn.
maybe
to
just
speak.
symbols, so it's
Something
more
else,
about
another skill to
that.
do
Well, I
with.
think also like,
We've got the opposite of that too.
So like
I
the
think
behaviour you
with
want to see more
participating and
of
contributing,
is
especially in like group
Yeah, so this is
situations,
academically
allowing
focused.
person
Yeah,
to
yeah.
share
the
ideas,
behaviour you want to see more of is
but also
using
to
the
share your
right
own ideas as well.
symbols
Yes, so
Um,
it
at the
might
right
be,
time. And
yes,
that's
so
So I
might
really
be,
like the way that
I love the way that you
what
used
you
casually
allowed
sage
up
and
to
then
okay.
but
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
You are looking very literally.
It's very Seek perspectives as part of our learning process, so it's like we often draw back on those verbs. And so with this one, like I really like academic perspective.
So the skill could be perspective taking, and then the label praise statement.
Yeah, I like the way that you put your
Useful, yes, yep, okay, yep, absolutely.
Blah, blah, blah.
how they
Yeah.
how they sat
You
down
listen to
like,
your
or
friend's
however they
perspective.
shared the
So
work.
that's very
Different
stone
perspectives.
fields.
No, that's
Phrasing.
but that's a great
I really like the way that
example.
you listen to your
Different perspective, and it could be different perspective about that experience, or different perspective of what they've inferred from the text, or
we always like with us we do like someone
because
shares, we then go like if we agree with it, like we use this like kind of hand gesture, and then if you didn't, then you could also voice your own opinion, but it's not then putting down that person's opinion. It's just
did
like,
you just do that?
Yeah,
that
it's
means
like-
connection.
Yeah, and it's like
connect
I
with you.
agree.
Oh, good. Yeah, I use that all the time and several times in that as well.
So if we like something, you could say, oh, you agree with
Yeah,
that, or you
it's
like
their
that.
way of not having to speak, but it's recognising that they're listening, they're engaging, and they're connecting with you. Nice. Okay, we should do one more. We've got a couple more minutes. So what could be another skill, behaviour that we're looking for in terms of participating and contributing?
Use the term
Yeah,
television to
great.
explain
She noticed that
separating.
there needs to
Fantastic.
be
And what would their label praise.
She was like, oh,
Absolutely, like the whole thing,
Yeah.
patiently
Yeah.
correct for the context, or it
Like,
might
or
be
that you're
the
sharing
way you've got the thinking, but the
I'm thinking like in games.
Yeah.
It's
I know, I just
restored
restored
it.
it.
Like in teammates, they often can
great job. And
be quite reluctant to participate if they're not
There's so many kids
So
add.
cleaning up
that's
I really like the way that you
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it.
All mean
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah.
I like the way you
And
gave
they
that a
just
go.
know
That
Yeah.
the
I
word
like
by
the way
word,
I like
word question go.
supported your team
Yeah.
or
Nice.
you participated with your team
Yeah.
or
Yes.
I know the numbers.
You brought
and
your
I
team
know
up.
that I need to have
you
Yeah.
encouraged
How many
each
more?
other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your contributions were empowered the team.
Yes.
All great label praise there. Love that. Okay, we'll just bring it back to a close, and I'll just maybe share one example of behaviour or skill and the label praise that you co-constructed with your buddy. Would you like to start off?
Yeah, so we had the understanding language, symbols and text. So the behaviour I want to see more of is capitals in the appropriate place.
Okay.
I like the way you used a capital letter at the start of your sentence.
Lovely.
We also had for maths using the correct operations. I love how you connected adding means plus.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. One from you guys, would you like to share?
Okay.
sorry, it's 10:30, go stop.
Oh, go, you got one.
Behaviour I
go.
want to see more of is like perspective, taking perspective, participating and contributing. So I would really like the way you listen to your friends that have different perspectives.
Fantastic. Thanks for that. And one from you too, Jess.
Sort of like tidying up thoroughly after yourself and others, and sort of I'm doing managing self. And then the label praise was like great job, and then the name of the person on using your initiative with cleaning up using the brush and pan.
Fabulous. Thank you. Well done. And we will now take break time. And the food is up there, like last
Do we
time.
want to reconvene?
We can.
Great,
What would you all like? How long do you need? You tell us. We will be responsive to you.
Yeah, so it's
I
like
don't need a
15.
coffee now.
Are you going to
We
go?
can make it more than 15.
You can go
If
to-
you're going
go to
we can
20.
make it 20.
Training.
I don't drink coffee, but
Well, I have, yeah, we'll do that lunchtime.
So it's 15.
15 minutes. Yep. So back to start with 1 2. So you want to start with
Hey, Siri, set an alarm for 10:47.
Perfect.
Oh yeah, my ACA.
Hey, alarm. Hey, Siri, set an alarm for 10:47.
Right, so
My ACC claim got approved.
Done.
No, it just says.
No, I did not.
Yeah, do I just just the red button?